I can take it. Yeah. Well, thank you, Jeanette. Thank you.
You could rearrange it if you
So I'm speaking today on not taking anything personal. I'm not sure any of you do, but I decided to spend the entire week taking everything personal. It's been a nightmare. Anyway, remember when you were a teenager and you took everything personal? Remember your outrage when you'd say, "What do you mean by that?" You know, so that kind of thing, or "Why are they looking at me like that?" I hate myself. I'll use my graduation money for breast implants. That'll make a difference, you know. It's the teenagers were crazy. Oh my gosh. 20% more girls had breast augmentation last year than they ever have. And I think it's interesting because that always comes from taking something personal. Do you agree with that? You better believe it. And so if we don't take anything personal, we're going to have great freedom and we're going to have immunity to others' opinions. So some of you, did you watch the game, the big Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so they were taking it a little personal there, those Chiefs. Now, anyway, but first, before I get into that, I do want to tell you what is the meaning of taking something personal. To personalize is a cognitive distortion where individuals attribute the entire blame for an event or a situation on themselves or others, even when there's little to no justification for doing so. So I just think it's really, really interesting that how easy it is to take something personal, and how that is the very time when we are to go within and and get fast doing it. Last Sunday, I'm going to go back now to the football game. Last Sunday, we were watching the Super Bowl, and how disappointing that was, and how we could have taken it personal if we were voting, if we were cheering for the Chiefs. And so I thought that I did think of my message, don't take anything personal, and then I saw Travis. Do you know Travis? Okay, all right. Incidentally, in the Eagles, was it the 26 Incredible? Oh my gosh, he was great. So, what? Was that his name?
Yeah.
Good. Oh my gosh. So you could see Travis Kelce, he put his head down in his hands like that, and I could just see he's thinking, my girl, Taylor, she came here to see me win and not lose. And then you could see him think, the President of the United States came for the Chiefs. You know, you could just see him take that personal. So anyway, so now Travis, do any of you watch the podcast of Travis and Jason? Oh my gosh, I'm sad. So anyway, well, I just love that family, and I love the mother. We're still having a problem with this. I'm wondering if I use the microphone, if that would help. Because this just, my ears. Yeah. Thank you. Is it on? It's on? Uh-huh. Good.
Do you want me to take this?
All right. Thank you so much. So now on the podcast, Travis is lamenting that he could have played better. Yeah, it's about time you thought that. And then he could have inspired the others to win. So he's sharing this on his podcast with his brother Jason. And he's also saying to his brother, who played with the Eagles, do all of you know that? Oh my gosh. And then he says, I don't blame you for rooting for the Eagles. After all, it was your team. And then that was really great for Travis to say. So that kind of gave Jason the go-ahead to rave about his Eagles team. He said, remember this move and that move? And Travis was okay, and then you could start seeing him change, and like, you're going too far. And so it looked like Travis now was personalizing it, and his brother stopped. So I just think that podcast is so much fun. And I had never seen a football game in my life till last year when I was voting for the Chiefs. And I won, and Eleanor was with me, and those others, 49ers, lost. It was so exciting. So we won the money. Anyway, so my friend Laura was watching the game with us, and she heard what I was going to be speaking on, and she said, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Do you know that Don Miguel Ruiz is his name? What is it? Ruiz. Okay. The author of the Four Agreements, that he commented to her, he said, that second one is impossible to keep. I think I'm going to leave it off next time." And so whether that's true or not, I really don't know. But probably it should have been left off. So the agreement is a principle that teaches people not to be affected by the actions or the opinions of others. But isn't it easy to do? Oh my goodness. Realizing that others' opinions and actions and reactions is a reflection of them, has nothing to do with you. I always thought it had to do with me. Anyway, it is about letting go of the need for approval and to let go of your sense of having to have your worthiness come from this other person. And so it can really feel terrible if you've got, if you're thinking like that. So we don't have to defend ourselves if we know our identity. It all has to do with identity, doesn't it? We can only live an authentic life when we are true to ourselves and have mercy for those who have outbursts and are hypnotically operating from a reactionary state of consciousness. There's so many right now, brothers and sisters all over, who are living in resentment and they're living in anger. And let me tell you, if you're living in resentment, you are continually taking life personally. The freedom to not take offenses personally. If people gossip about you, don't eat it by taking it personally, by then digesting it and thinking about it, and then you want to kind of take action upon it. Every war, every divorce, not speaking to someone maybe in your very own family forever, for years, is because you took something personal and they did. It's quite incredible, isn't it, when you think that this entire world and the condition it's in is because at some point somebody took something personal. So everyone has opinions that all are not, and they're not like ours. We can't control that. There are people that are going to find you really difficult and not like you. Good. That helps to wake us up. They have no idea how to not personalize the negative thoughts that they have of you. That's why we gotta just, keep our consciousness high, so when that happens, you can have mercy and empathy and love for the very one who is thinking that about you. And whatever you do, do not personalize the self-talk that comes swimming through your head, the conditioning thoughts of yourself. If you think they are real and true, you're going to feel vulnerable. You're going to feel free. You're going to feel like you're just vulnerable and not worthy, and others will manage to feel the same way about you. Don't suffer by believing the thoughts that have nothing at all to do with who you are. Because that comes, when it comes into your mind, don't personalize it. It is not you. The more that we know our identity, the more that we are going to know that those things are not true. The condemning thoughts of yourself, if you think they're real and true, you're going to feel, like you're going to feel like you just deserve whatever happens. So the only way that we cannot make something personal is to realize, I'm not attached to this. So as soon as we take something personal, we have two powers in our life, don't we? We are totally in duality, and we can't have heaven's voice speak to us. We won't even hear it. So to avoid taking things personal, focus on increasing your self-awareness. I actually don't know of any other way to do it, but to increase your self-awareness so that you know who you are and you can dismiss very quickly the things that come in. Consider the source of the comment or action, and don't jump to conclusions. Challenge your assumptions. Go higher in consciousness to see it from a new perspective, which may give you a heart of mercy and empathy, and create blessings for that person. Maybe your feelings of offense could be a projection onto the other from your very own insecurities, which is often the case. The Bible has so much to say about not taking offenses personally. In Proverbs, it says the wise ignores the insults. Another one says sensible people are slow to anger, and it is their glory to overlook an offense. That's a good one, huh? Yeah. Love is irritable and does not keep a record of being wrong. Don't take to heart all the things that people say. That's in Ecclesiastes. And Jesus said, "Blessed is the one who is not offended by me." Forgiveness is a choice that can free you from the burden of holding on to an offense. Praying for others that have offended you can help you replace the offense with lots of love and understanding. We want to guard our heart from being offended. One of the most common reasons that people take offense is insecurity. Insecurities are about my self-worth, the concepts that I have of myself. If you allow others to hurt you or offend you, you're giving all of your power away. Watch and see how long you ruminate over something once you have personalized it. Unless you're awake, you're going to ruminate it for quite a while. There's a new book that just came out, and the author is speaking all over. And the book is called I Hate Myself. And this has become, the author says, it has become such a plague that in our country, and those who hate themselves personalize everything. So he states that you were not born hating yourself. People who hate themselves believe they deserve to be hated. This hatred often started when they were children, where they came to believe that they were never worthy and they were never good enough. They should be seen and not heard. So they learned to please everyone, and they gained love. That love made them resentful. Sometimes with that one, they really personalized when they were real good pleasers because they never got enough approval and they never got enough love for being such good people and pleasing. Charles Fillmore says even dislike is a mild form of hate. Both dislike and hatred have no place in our consciousness. He says the remedy of hate is to have peace and harmony. We can live in God's mind. Love must be the keynote of everyone's life. Love is one's glorious, true, beloved identity. Love can impersonalize that which is painful. Those who give us a difficult time, and that is really and truly why we are here, is to overcome that kind of resentment that's going on in the world that could offend you in some way. But the one who has their being in Christ is truly a new creation. He's a creation of peace, and he's a creation of love and understanding. And soon as you are that new creation and you have something wonderful happens, you begin to have more space in your consciousness to make better choices and to love your neighbor, no matter what they say to you. When we personalize what people are saying and doing, we can easily go into conflict, struggle, and resistance. You can feel sad that you haven't heard from someone. You're personalizing something and seeing it in an old, conditioned way. You are equipped, though, to awaken. We're all equipped to awaken. That's so wonderful. From the sadness that we have to being awake. God is more present than your imagination. Trust and all is a miracle. Did you realize, and I know you all did, but I think it is one of the most amazing things that if we're taking something personal, that's ego. It's just our ego operating. So why let it be a dinner bell going off to show you that you've just fallen asleep for a moment? So when our minds are filled with ignorance and offenses that people have done to us, that mind will be offended and make everything very personal. That mind is producing its own image and likeness, which will mirror itself forth as the sin and the diseases of the world. But when the mind is filled with purity and love, it produces the image and likeness of God. And your divine blueprint goes into operation, and your responses are filled with beneficence and love. When our senses are seeing and feeling in separation, and two powers, and a flawed world, our senses would love to be able to see from a spiritual point of view. Where that's why the practice is so valuable, where you're no longer letting your physical senses get away with anything, and they start moving into being spiritual, where you can go out into your world and you can see the child of God instead of one who's a potential person that could offend you in some way. When we take anything personal and feelings of a resentment or fear come up, we're expressing always, always, always a sense of separation from God, and we don't want that. So we, just like I said, we're going to use those feelings to bring you back to the presence, back to your being the love eternal that you have come here to be. Now you're taking dominion. You're coming back to the oneness of God where you belong. When we take something personal, it can last for days with all kinds of imaginings attached to it. Pretty soon you have a great story, but ever notice that when we can keep our mood up and not make anything important, you will be a blessing instead of an attraction for others to hurt you. Don't be a place of attraction, but a beautiful place of resonance and a gift to the world. So as we are detached from hate, fear, and love of objects or people so that they can come to our mind without us having, just with a feeling of indifference, we are no longer in the realm of the lower realms. We're now moving our consciousness up. And now the presence of God can come forth and give us wisdom. So it is about you. It's about your identity, your true, beloved, glorious identity. So just relax and let go of everything that could ever concern you, in life. Always keep in your consciousness, I live, yet not I, but Christ lives my life. I'm free in Christ in this situation. So that's not taking life personal, but using the situation to take you into more higher realms of God. And in there, these attachments, they don't have any effect on you. You're not attached any longer to how people ought to be in order for you to be happy. Look at all the situations as a divine activity in your life. The Bible says that if I be lifted up, I will lift all unto me. That I in each of us is the beauty, and it's the power, it's the dominion and love of your soul. And to see people and our world lifted up. When the I am, the God within you, is lifted up in our consciousness, when there is union with the I am that is within you, and your eyes will produce different results every time when that be the case. Because you see, now we're seeing in completeness, we're seeing in love and with whole vision. And we come from a new reality, and that comes from God. The new heaven and earth we awaken into has new dimensions of grace and beauty. Someone I met many, many years ago when I was taking trips to Russia, and I think I might have mentioned about him a few years ago, but it was Patch Adams. Patch Adams was he went on one of our trips, and he was a medical doctor and a clown. So when he came on the trip, he was all dressed up as a clown with his big rubber nose. And I feel that this glorious man never personalized anything. He was such a gift on this trip. He gave rubber noses to everyone, first of all, and I really feel that's something Unity needs to get into. And, you know, to move from crystals to rubber noses is something. So he had brought a large suitcase of rubber noses, and it was just pretty incredible. Well, anyway, on the trip, Patch Adams was, he had like I said, this huge suitcase of rubber noses. And when the guards came on our train with their dogs, we always took that personal. And he entered the compartment, and here was Patch dressed as a clown with his rubber noses. And the guards laughed hysterically. I don't know if you know this or not, but in Russia, they are just like, they go wild over clowns and circuses. It's just unbelievable. The guards laughed hysterically, and we were traveling from Finland to St. Petersburg. And you see, so they opened up his suitcase, and they saw all the rubber noses, and they were jubilant. They couldn't believe it, and so each one got a rubber nose. And immediately, when they adorned themselves, they pushed each other out of the way so they could see themselves in this little mirror in the compartment. And they laughed at each other. And they just couldn't stop laughing. They were just, they had tears of joy. So something miraculous happened. I tell you, the one who you are taking personal, if you gave them a rubber nose, I know it would work. So somehow those rubber noses moved them out of the consciousness of suspicion and contraband and disdain, antagonism and aggression, which is how they always came into our compartments. And anyway, they had nothing but joy. They didn't want to search us at all. So they came into our compartment, and they'd look in our little mirror, and they would laugh, and then we would laugh. It was marvelous. And they were not looking for contraband at all. So most of the times I dreaded it when they came in, because they would take magazines. Well, one of the things that we discovered is that they felt all of our magazines were pornographic, and especially Cosmopolitan, so they would grab that. And they could have you moving into personalizing fear and duality in the blink of your eye. I kid you not. And you didn't know what the dogs were in there for, but you know, they looked like if they found something, they would probably bite you. And anyway, but Patch had one of the most amazing ways of transmitting problems. At one of our early morning meetings, one of the citizens of diplomacy, which is what we called our people, had caused a lot of dissension. He brought this, lugged this big bag of crystals, and they'd all been blessed by random spiritual friends that he felt were close to being ascended masters. And he had told his friends that he would bury them in the gardens at the Kremlin. And so we would, never have we wouldn't have any wars with Russia. So the idea was out of the question, as KGB would come pouring out of the Kremlin to stop it, and they would come with guns. So I knew it was never going to work. He was personalizing all of his ascended masters, and their disappointment he was sure they would all be expressing when he got home. So Patch came forth dressed in his clown outfit, and he showed his bag of rubber noses, and he said, "I want these all buried in the Kremlin too." And somehow it got everybody laughing, even the guy, who wanted the crystals buried there. And it was kind of a laugh of relief. And then he said, I think I'll just go ahead and settle for Gorky Park. There's more people that go there anyway. And he talked the crystal guy into joining him, and joy and clapping took place. It was so beautiful. And sure enough, we got to do all of that at Gorky Park. So in closing, let's just close our eyes for a moment. Let us know now that there's a divine place that is ready to accept the divine plan within you at all times. It has absolutely nothing to do with personalizing any event, any person. Let us move to the resonance of allowing and being the loving transparency of God in each situation. You are the light of the world. You've come here for this very purpose, to be the light, to be the love of the world, to be that peace that passes understanding. And as love, you respond to life without reacting. Rest in your beautiful identity that you are the living Christ on earth. You are the wisdom that sees actually the Christ in another. Remember now and let your consciousness just be, and see who comes into your consciousness at this time that is looking for your love, that is looking to be seen as sinless and forgiven. They've come to the right place. They've come to the love that you are. They have come to join you in oneness. Oh, look at them with love. Look at them with such love right now. They've been waiting for this. Oh, to know that they are forgiven, that they are loved. And they can come into your consciousness any time, and they can feel that beautiful, beautiful resonance. Because you're part of the tree of life. This is the fruit of the Spirit that you've inherited as a child of God. To be able to live your life with the gentleness and the love and the peace that you're able to offer to others. Thank you.